Well, hello. It's great to see you again. Welcome to another Ezra File broadcast. And on this Ezra File broadcast, we're going to return to a subject that we've covered on and off over a number of years now, going back to the very start, I think, of the Ezra Files. We're going to look at the very sad subject of abortion. And the reason why that we're going to look at this, other than the fact that it's something we've covered on several occasions previously, the reason why we're going to look at it again is because over the summer, the recent abortion statistics were released. And in England and Wales, the number of abortions, the recent statistics tell us, have reached the highest level ever recorded. In England and Wales, it is now the case that over 25% of all pregnancies end in termination. 1 in 4 pregnancies end in abortion. 1 in 4 children conceived never get to see the light of day. And this, of course, is a tragedy. It is, on one level, a human tragedy. It's a human tragedy, first and foremost, for the children who never get to see the light of day, who never get a chance to show what they can do with the gift of life that has been given to them. It's also a human tragedy for the women caught up in this, and I also think for the men as well, but particularly for the women who have to go through the trauma of an abortion, and perhaps even the even greater trauma of having to live with the after effects of abortion, psychologically and maybe even physically as well, who knows. It is a human tragedy what is happening here, that abortion in England and Wales has reached its highest ever figure. But actually, I also want to say that it's something else as well. I also believe you cannot look at this subject outside of the spiritual. In addition to the abortion rate being a human tragedy, it is also a spiritual tragedy. Spiritually, what is it when 1 in 4 pregnancies end in termination? Well, I think the way that I would characterize it spiritually is to say that this represents a loss of hope in society. Because after all, what does the birth of a child represent if it doesn't represent an act of hope? Having children is an act of hope in the future. You believe that the future is a better place. You believe that you've got something into which you can bring the next generation of society. Once that hope is lost, what is the point of bringing children into society? Spiritually, what we are seeing, what we are living through, is a loss of hope. And you can see that loss of hope. You can see the unfolding tragedy in front of us by looking at another set of statistics, that I think go closely with the abortion rate. And that statistic is the fertility rate, how many children each woman has. And I should say down there, I've included links to the abortion statistics as well as the fertility statistics. Apparently, it is now the case that in this country, the average number of children that a woman has is 1.65. 1.65 children for every woman. And as demographers never cease to tell us, the replacement rate for any population is 2.1. If you want to just replace your population, never mind getting bigger, if you want to just replace your population, each woman must have 2.1 children. And so the fertility rate in the United Kingdom is now 1.65. If you want to understand what effect that has, and if you want to understand how it reflects a loss of hope in society, just do the maths. The maths tell you very easily what's happening. So the maths, if you want to know them, they sound something like this. 100 women, fertility rate of 1.65. Generation 1, 100 women. Those 100 women will have 165 children. 50% men, 50% women. 82 women in the second generation. That 82 women will have 1.65 children if it stays the same. And so that 82 women will produce 135 children, 67 of whom will be girls, women. And so in 2 generations, you go from 100 women down to 67. In 2 generations, you lose 1/3 of your population. That's the measure of the loss of hope that these statistics represent. A fertility rate of 1.65, that is getting pretty close to what demographers call deathbed demography. You're getting pretty close to a figure that no society in human history has ever managed to reverse. You are getting close to the point of no return. And interestingly, if you look at one of the links down there, you'll see that I've included a link for Scotland. The fertility rate in Scotland apparently is now 1.29 children per woman. So each woman in Scotland now has 1.29 children. Do the maths on 1.29 and you'll see how very quickly the Scottish population is set to shrink. They may indeed have already passed the point of no return. A loss of hope in society. Hope, of course, is one of the 3 great Christian virtues. It's one of the 3 great gospel virtues. Faith, hope, and love. Or as they used to be, faith, hope, and charity. Faith, hope, and love. Hope is integral to the Christian faith. The Christian hope, the Christian belief in hope for the future rests, of course, fairly solidly. The Christian hope rests on the resurrection of Jesus Christ from the dead. That's because the resurrection of Jesus Christ from the dead is God's down payment on the future. It's a glimpse into the future of what God intends to do. Because the resurrection is the sign that one day God will renew all things in Christ. In the book of Revelation, Jesus says, "Behold, I make all things new." What started 2,000 years ago, the resurrection of Jesus Christ from the dead, will one day reach its consummation in the renewal of all things. The future, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, in Jesus Christ is a better place. Therefore, as Christians, we have hope. Sadly, we live in a society which has rejected Christianity. We live in a secular society that has moved it to one side. And with that has come the loss of hope. And with the loss of hope comes, well, it's there in black and white. It's there in the statistics. Now, before you say to me, but hang on, John, wait a minute. What about the right to choose? What about a woman's right to choose? Well, let me ask you this question. Does the right to choose include the right not to exist? Be seeing you.